Good evening, and thank you so very much once again. This is our fourth webinar, and we are absolutely delighted to see you back over here. It's a pleasure to meet you four times in about 2 days, and thank you for your time and energy that you give to us to bring this back. This certainly has been the longest 2 days. The not only being 21st of June, I don't know why we chose that date because that is the longest day in the year. Yet we actually, in the real sense of the word, have had the longest 2 days of the year. So, yes, welcome to Creative Experiences with Adobe in partnership with Deep Pedagogics. We're working towards and actually gearing up towards, and we are also in the last webinar towards a whole day of creative experiences, which is going to be held on 10th of July 2019 at Adobe Office, Noida. We have been talking about this webinar in our previous three webinars again. We are going to touch upon many things, but we are going to focus on today on bringing you something new apart from talking about creativity and communication. As told to you about Adobe Educator Exchange in our last webinar, here we are talking about the Adobe Education Exchange. I'm going to request Duhita to help us understand this. But before she does that, please remember all your questions, queries, which whatever worries, whatever comes to your mind, ideas, everything must be shared in the chat window today. This is an important hour for us because we are here to not only share with you what we have to share, but also take your worries and answer those queries. So please keep those coming. Tuhita, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining back for another session of learning. So as said, I'm Dohita Parmar. I'm going to share with you a little something about the Adobe Educator Exchange program. So which in itself is a self-paced learning module. To log into the same, you need to go to the site edx.adobe.com. Once you log in, you need to create a sign in, which you can do it with your Adobe ID, or you can sign in using Office 365 account of yours, or even the Microsoft account of yours. So any of the three IDs can be used to create an account on this website. I'm repeating again the link, that is edx.adobe.com. So the moment you log in, you need to create your profile over there. So when you complete your profile, the which includes your name and the set of questions that would be displayed over there. So the drop down box is there and we have my profile over there. Please complete your profile over there. Once you have done that, you jump into the home page, which showcases a number of courses. Again, you can select and research the resources according to your subject specification also. Now, these are all self-paced courses, but yes, you have a search button over here wherein you can search for the courses and workshops also, right? But a date is always mentioned on a particular course when it is going to start. So you can enroll for the course beforehand, but the course is going to start on the mentioned date only in the blue boxes if you see that it is mentioned over there. And on the top, if you see the headings, activity, courses and workshops, teaching resources, discussions and community. So the workshops do not indicate any time limit, but the courses do so. And yes, you earn badges and points over here also as you keep on completing your courses. You can share your own teaching resources in this community, right? And on the top panel, When you say, for example, the pedagogics, as Meenakshi has logged in over it, this is her page that is being highlighted over here. So she is a contributor to the community. She has attended 5 workshops, 1 resources she has added over there, and a total of 714 points she has in all over here. Now, the teaching resources, you can contribute and you can participate in the discussions also over here. So it's a community worth attending, wherein you get to learn lots and lots over here. Then if I go ahead a little bit to learn over here, we have the courses to learn and deploy. Especially there's a course which says creative imagining for imaging for educators, right? So you can enroll for this course. It started in Feb 11, the date says. So this course is also worth mentioning over here. And below, if you see featured teaching resources, so once you have added your teaching resource over here on any topic, it gets featured on the website also. A worth platform wherein to learn and share. You can add on to your own learning over here also, but it's not only your own learning, but you can share your own learnings also to other educators, and you can follow people and other educators in the community also, gaining points as and when you proceed ahead. Now, in these courses, what do we all learn? Like, there are lots of courses. You'll say, why should I be doing a particular course? So, for example, in this particular case, you're going to learn how to deploy the creative imaging for educators. So, we have a course over here for Adobe apps for education also. Wherein step by step you can learn how to use all the Adobe apps also at your own convenience, right? The In these courses we learn how to use the tools. We meet the tutors. You have a tutor in hand who will be guiding you throughout. We connect with the community, apply your learning, and definitely hands-on experience is also there. So in totality, it's not a single scenario, because you are simultaneously learning to use the tools, and it's tools. It's not one tool, it's a variety of tools according to your needs and choices that you learn about. There are going to be tutor mentors over here. So you ask your queries, you get in conversation with them. The community is there with whom you connect around the world. Then you also apply the learning. It's not that once I have learned my application of a tool, let's say as simple as Photoshop, then but how do I do, what do I do with it? I have learned it how to use it. Where am I going to use it in the real life scenario, maybe in the classroom scenario also? And definitely hands-on experience is there, because when you're doing a particular, when you're enrolled for a particular course, there would be small bits and bits of assignments which you have to complete simultaneously and submit. So that adds on to the hands-on experience, because we learn, because till the time we do not learn. See, it's as simple as baking a cake. I tell you the recipe, but till the time you will not bake it, you will not come to know what were the shortcomings. So here also, when you enroll for a course, simultaneously you get small assignments which you do on that particular tool and submit them. Wherever suggestions are needed, you are shared there. They share the suggestions also with you. So do enroll on this community, as it's a wonderful experience. We are already, me and Meenakshi are already a part of it, and we have shared our teaching resources also over here, which have been acknowledged and applauded. So looking ahead for your joining in for the community. The website is already typed in the chat box, that is edx.adobe.com. I hope I made some sense and it's clear. Still, if any queries are there, please keep typing in the chat window. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Rita. Yes, that was very, very clear. And
Yeah.
I think it's a very exciting platform to be a part of. Just the way we learn, grow, and use the capabilities that our Microsoft platform has to offer. This is an equally, I think, if not equally, this is also a very challenging kind of a website where you learn lots, because there's not much that we are aware of as teachers. At least that's what I felt, that I wasn't aware of so many things that you could do in your class using these tools. Because for me, these creativity tools were for experts. So when I was working on these tools, I realized it's really not so. This is easily my cup of tea, because when I take it into my classroom, it just changes the scenario. Because my classroom, where I was spending time, making things more interesting, more beautiful, more immersive, this just helped me take it a little bit notch higher. Because once again, I had the native tech students sitting in my classrooms for whom technology is just about nothing than clicking a few clicks. And for me to even, begin clicking on any of the icons, I have to think before I click. They don't. So I hope you are able to join, and I'll highly encourage you to go and find your inspiration out there. So, if you're in the process of creating a spark, it's highly advised, highly recommended that you must go there to find projects shared by other teachers, because that will give you a good idea about what can be shared. We can only do as much in about an hour, and we'll try and make the most of it. But of course, there is a community. It's a 24 by 7 community for you to access at your convenience and learn from. I'm sure you're going to learn and grow in your capacity using this community. And if there are any questions, I can pause to answer.
We don't have any questions. I've typed in the web link once again as asked. Till now,
Sure.
we are fine. We are good to go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So let's talk about what we were going to talk about today, and that's creativity and communication. Those two, I feel, are linked, are mostly interchanged, and also used in a manner that they could sit in each other's seat. But it would be an understatement to say that technology has significantly changed the way we communicate, function, and gather information as a part of our day to day routines. In fact, what we should be saying is we communicate in a way that we have never ever done before. We are so highly connected, and we are so always plugged in that we have nothing that we don't know by now or we cannot know. We have the means and we have the ways to learn. So while it's true that these students are born in the 21st century are considered to be digital natives, children find themselves most comfortable with device in their hand. So most students are visual learners, we all agree. So having a screen in front of them is the most valuable tool for learning process. Visual scene displays, just like in case of Spark, it just helps your students who are struggling with communication or verbal skills, or are just generally shy to voice their thoughts, to pen down what's going on in their mind in a very safe and secure manner. And the screen just creates that interactive display and enables them to tell their story by either recording their voice or writing what they want to, or with a combination of pictures, and gives them the capability to narrate their sentences and scenes in the form of a spark. My firm belief in education or in a classroom scenario is that if I'm able to use technology to make my students' thinking visible, to hear my students' voice, and also to share my students' work, my goal is achieved. I do not look for anything further as far as communication is concerned. Communication in a physical manner is already happening in our classrooms. We are looking for various methods to enable that kind of communication in our classroom. But what about the quietest voice that sits, or many a times, in a period of about 40 minutes, about 20, okay, I think I'm being over ambitious there, but let's say on an average for about 12 minutes, the teacher is talking, and rest of the time, students are working with themselves. While the rest of the time they are working with themselves, we expect silence in our classrooms. We expect them to stay quiet. Very rarely do we allow them to talk in whispers or soft voices. But there's loads that's going on. Those 12 minutes are heavy for them because you have offloaded so much to them that they need to communicate. They need to say what came to their mind while you were talking about that. Therefore, it's absolutely imperative that we make platforms for making thinking visible, for bringing student voice outside in our class, and for sharing work because we learn from each other, and who other than you will understand that best. What are these visible thinking routines that we can bring into our classrooms supported with technology? We do I've over the years done multiple visible thinking routines, and I've hosted multiple workshops on these for teachers where we talk about visible thinking routines. Like I said, no brain ever stops thinking or working. It only goes dull because it's just a passive absorber of information. Therefore, we have to keep them active, we have to keep them engaged. Only chalk talk is not something that will suffice. Sentence or phrases or words that they capture, they should be able to capture somewhere. Sorry. So let's say if we have a platform where, not in the classroom, I understand every classroom will not be able to provide one-on-one device yet. Going back home, just a simple task of some words, that new words that I heard today, that's about it. And you have a collaborative spark for that. Students are going to think about what they learned, they're just going to throw in some words, and they'll catch on each other's words to recall, yes, this was taught in class. And when you tell students to throw in a few words, I assure you they throw in more than one word. They throw in a sentence, which might not be a complete sentence, but a cluster of words is what we would call it. Uh, for us as a teacher, it becomes much easier to circle some of the, or to put our finger on some of the viewpoints that would have come across, which might not be or might be facts in a classroom. See, think wonder is something that we have all done, and we must do it digitally too. Again, when I'm using my class time for this, I am giving them an opportunity to to voice their thoughts in a manner where I cannot monitor those 40 students together. Therefore, if I flip my classroom, I give them a video parked in a Spark on a web page. They view that and they fill the form of see, think, and wonder and come back. My job to start my class is much easier. So you can blend the classroom. Blending learning models or flipped learning models have worked very well in classrooms and must be used. Um, then there is another clarification model wherein we are teaching students certain concepts in a class. And, the first day, the second day, and the third day, children grow in their capacities and they start learning newer things each day. So while they develop this new understanding, they should be able to say that this is what I used to think, but now I think this. So thinking stems like this or sentence starters like this as something that you don't need to spend your class time in it. You can simply just send it off on a Spark, and students will actually, just contribute out there. So there are multiple other strategies that are mentioned over here, and I think it's a great way to bring in learning in a different manner in your class. The explanation game is one being one of my favorites. So put in a video. Let's say I'm teaching them photosynthesis, but put in a video with no volume, no explanation, just graphics running. So it's like a gift that you're sharing with them. Very quickly, something happens over there. Now, students have to play that explanation game to write in their own words what did they understand, what was happening. So, no big words, no need for terms and all those definitions. They can come in later. Even if I were teaching the water cycle to, let's say, grade 3, I would just give a kind of an image and I ask them, what just happened? What do you think is happening here? They're going to weave a story on their own and say that, this is what is happening based on their observation and relying on their prior knowledge. One off child might bring in the terms of evaporation, condensation, or precipitation, but mostly they will not, and we'll keep away because we need to build a strong base before we start bringing in definitions. So I think this kind of an example or this kind of a way of learning is very engaging because the student is already hooked into that learning, and you only have to move further from over there. Of course, there are many ways in which thinking routines can come into your classroom. And a thinking routine is more than just one of good idea or any activity. There can be so many. A simple hello in all the languages not only includes diversity but also helps communicate with each other. Think, puzzle, explore is another way. And then there's yet another way where you are giving students certain vocabulary words or, certain morning routines. And your class is not chaotic in the morning when you're taking or marking attendance. Your students are already thinking, they're already in a mode, work mode, if you have a one-on-one device or even a 1 to 5 device for that matter, or 1 to 7. So here's a technology focused spin on note taking. Uh, the students can actually find a web page with content reflecting or related to any of your lessons and get students to make notes directly on the page. So they'll study, they'll review, and they'll critique the content on the web page itself. A digital take on brainstorming is what this is. And to encourage students' input into this content processing activity, I think we need to create and distribute choices of the way they can display their understanding. Let's say I'll go back to my example of teaching them about let's say photosynthesis or water cycle. I've given them a web page to read about and then skim some understanding and visuals from over there, bring them here and explain in your own words. So you're engaging them continuously and you're encouraging student input, and you're encouraging them to express their understanding in the way that they prefer, whether they make a web post or a web video, a spark page or a spark video or a spark post in it, as they prefer it, that suits their learning style or the way they could express themselves the best. Blogging, of course, is another way which is a very creative outlet for students, lending itself especially well to language arts classes and other maybe heavy writing subjects. So WebQuest encourage students to find and process information in engaging context and adding an interesting element of research which we normally try and make in a very formal way, and students get engaged at some point in that research. Here we give them an open research platform and allow them to study, review and critique content that is available on that web page. How we enabled all this in our classrooms, I'm just going to showcase an exemplar to you. But here are some more examples of what communication can look like in your classroom. Modeling critical thinking and visual literacy skills, creating timelines to document processes or explaining historical events, autobiographies or biographies, activating prior knowledge at the beginning of the lesson or unit, analyzing information to develop critical thinking and visual literacy skills, student portfolios, or rather, I would say their growth portfolios or the entire learning journey can be captured using Spark. Setting up a framework for future learning. So, what's next? Children are very enthusiastic. They really want to know that what is it that I'm going to learn next over here. Just a minute, please. Illustrating ideas or related to concepts in a curriculum topic, or classroom newsletters, or sharing data with parents or colleagues is what you can use the Spark for. And presenting your research findings, like I've just spoken about, and of course, photo essays. If you've not tried photo essays, please do that. It is one spark in the class that you can bring in right away tomorrow. So, craft your own story. Make it personal, get emotional, use anecdote and reflection, make it visual, include a call for action, and stay inspired. It's absolutely imperative that at this stage, I take you to showcase a few examples and give you some more ideas to flip your classroom, to bring in some more creativity in your classroom. Interactive digital storytelling with Flipgrid and more. Yes, you can even have a flip venture running using your Spark. I'm also going to give you a very brief demo on what this could look like, what your Spark post and the basic layouts and everything are. But before I do that, I'm going to pause to see, Duhita, if we have any questions there.
We do not have any questions till now. Still, I'll just wait. Request if anyone has any query, any question, kindly type in the chat window, please, before we go ahead.
Okay. As they type in their questions and queries, I'm going to move further. I'm going to showcase to you that you're going to, what is it that you can expect for a Spark post to be. So the Spark post will have these nuances. So this is a typical project in a Spark post. If you see on the left side, you will see Spark post, and you this is your home button. So all the Spark posts that you make will automatically get parked as projects on your dashboard, that is on your main page. So when you go to spark.adobe.com, you will see all the projects that you have made, whether it is a web page or a post or a video, are all going to be parked here. There is an undo button, our lifesaver, because we certainly need an undo button, because when we experiment, something that comes very handy is undo and redo. Then, of course, there are customization options wherein you can add a image, text, or you can play around with backgrounds or themes, design, color, layouts, and much more. And I'm sure you will be exploring this on your own too. So we have given you a demo of how you can create content. You can simply just double click on the text, click on the image, and start personalizing it. How can you use it in the classroom? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about. We spend so much time making those chart papers on science lab rules or English classroom rules or my classroom rules. Try a Spark post. It's going to come out so interesting, so neat, and so fetching that you would not have to spend your day and night doing that. Start character studies. So if you see, it was Mark Anthony and not Mark Anthony, right? So who is Mark Anthony and what this character is? Start bringing in character analysis over here. The Pearl, well, start redesigning book covers. It's very interesting. If you have read a book and if you feel the book cover doesn't justify and doesn't tell you what the story is going to be, it's one of the most interesting things to do is redesign the book cover. That way, your book clubs run in a very interesting manner. So not only do the students have to see whether the new book cover matches the story or not, or better or not, you can even bring in perspectives about that whole story, and your book reading club just gets a jump start. Then, of course, comic strips is something that we have been always wanting to make, and there are beautiful icons and ways in which you can use Spark to make a comic strip. It's beautiful to use these in your classrooms, and sometimes just a thought-provoking idea. So, just to make great posters or great layouts for your classroom display, just a thought for the day. Create multiple on the go. I think every day, even if while you're traveling and you can make one, your day is made and your students are completely engaged. You're driving a value-driven classroom. Isn't that powerful? Moving on, I'm moving a little fast, but if you need to ask any questions, Duhita's
Yeah.
watching the window.
So we
Yes,
have
please,
two
Duhita.
questions, please.
Yeah.
So there's a question: can we combine multiple posts into one?
Yes, you can. I'm going to, yes, you can. A simple answer. What
Yeah.
you can do is choose a layout which enables you to take up multiple pictures, or simply just add pictures using a post. Yeah.
So yes, Monica, definitely yes, you can do it. Monica has typed that her daughter did it yesterday. So all the posts can be combined into one single, as a, let's say the word collage, the known word that we use, it can be done definitely.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Neeta ma'am,
Any
I'll
other
address your
question?
query a little bit later. Yeah, she has received the mail to start working with Adobe ID or
Hmm.
create one. When I start to create, it said Adobe ID exists. How to get the login details for that, please guide. So I think we'll
We'll
address this
just,
towards
yeah,
the
we'll
end.
address these
Yes.
towards the end. Yeah,
Thank you
let's
for
just go with
keeping.
the flow. Thank you, Duita. Okay, so moving on to a Spark video. Once again, you're in a Spark video when on the left top right home button says Spark video. You can preview this video, share this video, and of course, download this video. That's the best part about it, that you can simply just make one and download. So to help you understand what a video, how a Spark video is made, I'm just going to take a kind of, I'm actually going to go juxtaposing with PowerPoint. So when you are working in a PowerPoint, you have your slides on your left. Similarly, you have these decks or these cards or these video clips, as they call it, at the base. There are three always by default, and then you can keep adding by clicking on this plus button. If you want to see how a particular video clip runs, so this main video is made up of smaller video clips. So if you want to see how it runs, you can play it from here. You have a record button, so you can have a insert any of these content and then do a voiceover also. This is something I found absolutely powerful while making videos for my classroom. And of course, you have your customizing options. This is beautiful when it gives you a layout of being full screen or split screen or caption or title. And of course, you can play around with theme and resize and music. Multiple examples are available on video, and I'm going to move to page very quickly and then take you to more examples. So let me very simply try and explain to you what a Spark page looks like. Once again, the home button is always on the left. On top, you have your settings preview if you want to present. So this is, I'm going to make, okay, I'm going to be juxtaposing with Sway now. This is what, is your creative mode or your creation mode actually. And when you have to present, you have to click on the present button to present. Okay. And of course, you can share it. You have various themes available to you. So you must first start by choosing the theme that you would like to work with and then get into titles, subtitles, or creating more content. There are various options for content. Not only can you insert an image or a text, you can bring in any link from anywhere and put it as a button in your web page. You can also insert a video over here. You can have various layouts, which is very interesting, and glide show being one of my favorite ones, of course. And there are other options also for the glide show. What is it that you can do using a web page? Well, about me is the first thing I would do as I start my year. As I go through the year, we are going to use it as a journal. I'm going to do a number of photo essays. I'm going to do a number of reports. And then, of course, we will have a portfolio ready for our, the whole year's work held in one. So these are some of the ideas which I wanted to present to you, and some very quick sparks to throw at you. Imagine identifying keywords is such a boring task for students to do. But if you ask them to highlight with those color pens, it still becomes a little more interesting. But if you put it in a Spark page and you identify keywords in the question and tick them off as you cover them. So, as you've covered them, you could actually be working on those. This is beautiful a tip, and you could actually use it in a Spark web page or a post. You've always wanted to have badges created, or awards created for your students, which really wouldn't require a line of permissions. Quick rewards or quick Spark post is something that you can create within your class and just award it to your student. They're happy, you're super happy. You've been captured. So, what do you think? What do you hope in this document to be? So, creating ambiguity around something. So, this is a very interesting project that you can do, and students can communicate what do you think they would like captured in a booklet like this, which looks like a passport or which actually looks like, where in the world would you like to go? So, what is it that you would want to know, and why would you like to go? So, of course, you can give your thinking stems out here for students to dwell further into this, but just a caption like this just gets you going. Here's another one. Tell this story. So tell them that I found this post on Facebook. It says, please do not pass any photos from last night. What do you think happened last night? Creates mystery. So language teachers, I think it's a beautiful way of spending a weekend doing some meaningful writing work by students. Tell the story. What an interesting picture to look at. So this is created using Spark Post, and you can put it in your Spark page or Spark video. And tell me what the story was. Why do you think there are so many arrows that are piercing through this airplane? So it's an interesting thing to do. Or simply find an interesting photo and come up with a question or a task or a problem that uses this image as a prompt or an activity. So rather than you designing the task, it's them designing the task. These are independent tasks or inquiry that can go on within your classroom, and these could be sent out as weekend prep every week. So once in a while, I think it's just good to just hang up your shoes and let students be in the teacher's chair and design certain assignments. Before I move forward, I'm going to take you to the web page so that I'm able to showcase to you some examples. I don't see any more questions coming over here. So I'm simply going to go to the web page. But Duhita, if we have anything, please let me know. I'll be happy to take them.
Surely.
All right. Here's my Spark page. You've seen it before between yesterday and today. So as I land on spark.adobe.com, this is my landing page, and my projects are all parked here. Some projects that I have made, some that have been shared by others. I can actually filter to see what all I want to see. Let's say I only want to view my web pages or my posts or my videos. I could be using that or sorting them according to new and the last. I want to showcase to you some work that we have done. Once again, now I'm in a web page because I know on the left side it says web page. I'm going to start presenting from here. I'm giving you an example of a teacher who has used this Spark for teaching content, that is animal cell and comparison, okay, plant cell comparison. As you move forward, how beautifully the image is getting displayed, and this is simply a choose and paste over here that the teacher has done, and you have an animal cell moving on to the plant cell. It's a beautiful transition that you can see in the differences, and there's some write up, and there's a video that has been inserted here, and then there's a button for a quiz. So if I click on this quiz, it actually takes me to another site where the students can take up their quiz. Moving forward, again, this is a web page. So I'm going to start showcasing to you what the web page looks like. Now, this is a complete project. Kindly focus that this is a project that is done by a teacher. This is also a lesson plan, but it's a working document between students and teacher. So this lesson plan on the sustainable development goals was covered with students remotely, and the students were given this to learn from. So here's the background. They were introduced to SDGs and what are the aims of UN. We talked a little bit about SDGs here. Viewed a video. Now the teacher has inserted this content which is already available. She has not made any original content here. Though she could have made a Spark video also. But if you see, after every task, there are certain questions. So, what are the global goals aiming to achieve? Why are they important and how are they made? Now, the teacher expects that when this is shared with my students, they should be answering, they should be writing their answers here. And the set expectation is as you type the answer, put in your name next to it. So, it's a simple way of interacting or mind mapping with our students. Next task was that this image did not look like this. The image has been used in Spark Post to create it like that. But original image had images of some other people from some other country. And we inspired them into asking them if they would like to be a goalkeeper. And which is what they agreed to. So, what did they do to become a goalkeeper? And who is a goalkeeper? So, we played a kind of a video for them. So, and we then defined what being a goalkeeper could look like and what is their task. So, their task was to identify one SDG goal and work on it to find information about the same. Now, if you see, we are not printing any worksheets, we are making our classrooms paperless. But all the work that is being done and all the instructions that are being delivered right from over here. The students were given a Pinterest board. So this is again a button. A button means a link, which means we give them so that they don't go wandering on the World Wide Web. We give them a bunch of resources to work on the SDG goals. So and some action ideas. If you present students an idea of what is expected at the end of the day, their work is of much better quality. Rather than calling it, I've already told them what they need to make. We call it learning from each other. Therefore, we've also created an exemplar SDG presentation of how and what I expect my students to do. So students made their projects and they inserted buttons over here to share their projects. No one-on-one, interaction is required, though they meet you every day in school. Yet this can go on in the background outside of your class because any which way they're going to work on a device. After that, we expected them to create a Spark post or a video about the goal and what have they researched or researched about, right? So this was the whole project. If I were to do this project, this is how I would do it. I would display my students, work, but in a format wherein I don't need to showcase what they're doing, but I want to show you what they did. So this is what one of the projects looked like, made by two of our students, Jennifer and Paki. They worked on need for quality education. This is a Spark post that they have inserted in their page. How do we know? We know because of this symbol. These words are their own. And look at the beautiful and the simplest idea that they picked up. They simply started writing. One of the girls simply started writing on the board, and the other student just took a picture on the phone, converted it into a Spark post, and inserted it here. It's as simple as that because it's on the go. And those of you who have already tried it know what I'm talking about. All of these words are their own. They've researched about this topic and they have written all of this and then encapsulated all of their understanding into one video. I don't know whether you'll be able to hear it or not, but I would love to very quickly run this video because once again, this has been made on Spark and you will know how. So I'm simply running, and if you can't hear it, then I'm going to speak along with to explain. Now you see that icon is already here. This means this is a Spark video made on Spark, Adobe Spark. All these words they have typed on those video clips and the transitions have come all by itself. You also have a choice of transitions, but look at the smooth transitioning that is happening, and you're not worried about the layout, look and feel, or how will it what kind of theme from where should I bring. So all those options are right in front of you. All you have to do is pick and choose and focus on the content. Now this particular part of the video has been a 20-second clip has been taken from another video which is already available on the UN page. So they wanted to show how their research on what is their research based. So their research was based on this, and then they have question coming out of that clipping that they watched or viewed, and look at what they've come up with. I mean, the kind of solutions that they're offering, and they're actually going into. In fact, one of our groups actually had an action call to action for people, and they responded and they've captured that in their video. I wouldn't have time to share that, but what I'll do is I will share a link to this Spark, which was our main Spark, with you in our chat window so that you're able to draw inspiration. Another one is, working on yes, poverty. This was the Spark video that they had created. No poverty. I really love the smooth transition that happens within a Spark page where the student doesn't have to bother about the layout and the look and feel of this entire program. So look at the lovely message that they've given. It's all their words. It's not borrowed or taken from anywhere. And of course, the small appreciation goes a long way. So each time I come here or land on any of those student projects, I don't feel shy appreciating their projects. This is what the video looks like, and these are the video clips that we have inserted. This is one of the events that we had done in one of the schools in Noida. And if I play this, I'm simply just previewing one. So let me just preview the whole video. It looks something like this. You will see that the transitions are absolutely smooth. And the way I had, again, this is a clipping from an existing video that we have taken. The voice is also there that you can't hear right now. Yet there is volume to it and we've added music and everything. I can download this video and put it on social media. In fact, I have. If you go to our Facebook page, you will be able to view this video. So, last but not the least, here's your page where you can view as many posts and as many, the page or videos that you have created. I've created plenty by now. I think we have been able to explain much, but I'm back here with you to see if you have any questions. Duita ma'am, do we have any
Yes, ma'am.
questions?
Yes, we
Yes.
have few questions.
Yes, please.
The first one is by Charu. Is it possible that multiple people or students can post or edit or give comments on the Spark web page?
Yes, it's a simply a link that you need to share with them in a collaborative mode, and you can do that. Certainly, you can. Just like any of our Microsoft tools, even in Adobe, you get an option to send it out in a view only mode or in edit mode.
Then we have another question that is it necessary that the Adobe Spark logo should be added because it
No,
needs
it's
to.
not. No, it's really not. It gives you an option. Some free options are available where you can remove the Adobe Spark logo. But in some, it'll be a paid version. That's why I told you use the license that we are assigning to you. Do not use a generally free available version, wherein you can go to spark.adobe.com and create. But you can certainly, if you have a license, if for your school for Spark, then you can remove it. Yes.
So till now there were these two questions only in our window. Any other questions, please, before we proceed ahead?
Okay, as you keep your questions coming in, we have covered the stage one halfway. We have covered the four webinars that we were supposed to do between 21st and 22nd of June. Congratulations to you and us on completion of these four webinars. We are now placing the ball in your court, and we expect that you will come back by 27th of June with your submissions. Link for submission has already been shared by Dohita. We'll once again put it in our chat window. And we will send out mails which will have links to all the videos, all the resources. We are posting more resources for you in that same folder. So same folder will have a PDF or a Word document which will host all these links. Please feel free to share it within your educator community. Bring in as many people as possible. It's not every day that these events happen. And I think you all are great ambassadors for of learning, and we must evangelize and we must engage more people into this entire endeavor. Towards getting ready for a face-to-face session with Ben Porter, who is absolutely excited and looking forward to meeting educators in India. He he is looking forward and watching us every day. So every post that we are sharing or every webinar that we are doing, we are sharing it with him, and we will all be ready to welcome you on 10th of July. Therefore, please do not forget to give us your submissions in time. You know the plan for 10th. Once again, it's here in front of you. We have a whole day training session from 9 a.m. to about 5 p.m. We have a packed day for you with training with Ben Porter, and then you'll be working in your project on your projects within your group team wise. Mentoring and finalizing of the project will be done, which is going to be a working lunch. Yes, we do not mention lunch separately because I think when you're here with us for a few hours, we would actually want to leverage every minute of that hour, those hours. Then, of course, there's a creativity showcase. There will be the pitch, and you have to pitch your project, group project actually, in different rooms to jury. So there will be 9 groups who will be presenting to each of those rooms. And of the 9, 3 will be selected to participate in our Adobe School Leaders Summit the very next day on 11th of July, which is again an action-packed day, loads of learning, loads of rewards and awards, and of course you will be awarded if you're the top 3 groups in your team, then certainly, or your strand, then you will be awarded the next day. Even for attending on 10th, you will be getting certificates, and there's a little bit of a surprise hanging in there for you. I'm not going to reveal that now, but it's a beautiful surprise, something that I've been waiting for quite some time. So that's what we have for you today. But I'm very happy to take any questions that we have from anybody here who would like to ask anything that we have shared. If not, thank you so very much for joining. I'm very mindful of the time. We still have another 10 minutes to go, and not bad at all that we've been able to cover all of this. Please, yes, the links are being shared by Duhita. She's been very kind throughout the 2 days and been very helpful by sharing all these links continuously in our chat window. We have recorded these 4 sessions. I will be sharing these with you and everybody who registered. So there are many teachers, because of vacations, who have not been able to join, have requested for recorded versions. So certainly we will be sharing all the recordings with you right after this. 3 of the recordings are already available along with the presentations that we have made. Those are already available in your in the folder that we have, the link that we have shared with you. So it's, I think the ball is in your court now. We would really appreciate if you could show your enthusiasm for Spark and make a sparkling effort to make a beautiful Spark for this challenge. Challenge is something that we all welcome and we all appreciate in our lives. So I hope we are able to do that. I don't see any questions coming in. I do see many thank yous. So thank you so very much and all the best. This is going to be a great week for you. I'm going to stop recording here so that, but we are still available here